JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 11th of August 2021. So yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a very quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, I'll give you a few seconds to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, as always, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So you have to check us out here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top, guys. So let's have a look at what's happening here with the indices. So Nikkei 225 managed to climb a little bit higher here, as you can see, closed in the positive territory today, but still remains below this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 15th of June. So as I mentioned before to you guys, I would actually prefer to wait for maybe for that break above that downside line and then kind of go for some higher levels. But at the moment, it seems that the bulls are on the right track. Let's see if they are capable of breaking that downside line. If they are, then certainly we could continue aiming for the upside. But if it doesn't, if this downside line continues somehow to provide resistance, then maybe a bit of a corrective move lower might be possible. Now, of course, the more comfortable level here from where, after a break of which we could consider the downside, could be somewhere near this 27,385 territory, the one that I spoke about previously. But as from the very short-term perspective, I mean, if we see this one climbing higher, as I said, if this downside line provides a bit of resistance, then yep, maybe a bit of a corrective move back down here could be possible. And if we see the index falling back below the 21-day EMA, maybe this could attract a few more sellers into the game here. But of course, also there's a lot of ifs here and a lot of obstacles. So of course, something to keep an eye would be this here, the low here, the upside support line taken from the low of the 30th of July. So in a way, if you want to be even a little bit more careful and cautious, then certainly a break of this upside line might do the trick for you. But again, like I said, there's it's not a very clear picture here, but we can only go from what we see right now here. So let's see if we can get a break of this downside line here. If we can, then yes, we could go for some higher levels. If we cannot, then maybe a bit of a corrective move here back down towards this upside line could be possible. Now, Shanghai Composite, so this one's looking quite interesting because I said to you that after, if we break this this highlighted territory right here, this 3,470 zone, and then we pop above the 21-day EMA, this could open the door to its higher levels. And what I mentioned to you yesterday, that initially, actually, initially I was aiming for this barrier here, the 3,576, but yesterday I said that actually I'm gonna stick to this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 20th of June, which, as you can see, we almost managed to reach today. So in a way, I could say that this could be already as a good achievement. So we managed to kind of reach the area near our target, so in a way that's already a good sign. But again, let's be very careful here. If we break this downside line, certainly we'll go for some higher levels, but if we fail, then maybe a bit of a decline here, back down could be possible. However, to get a little bit more excited with the downside and lower levels, now let me just quickly show you what I'm talking about here. So of course, the preferred option here is to wait for a drop back below the 3,470 territory right here, and this way maybe more sellers could join in, because at the same time we would be placed below this steep upside support line taken from the low of the 28th of July, and yep, this, like I said, this could be seen as a good opportunity for the bears again. But let's not rush into anything. First, let's see what's going to happen with this downside line right here. The German index DAX, and yesterday pushed higher, but again it failed to overcome the all-time high, which is currently near that 15,811 territory, 11, 12, something like that, approximately around there, guys. But it failed once again to overcome it. If we take a look at the cash index right now, where we are currently sitting at, we'll see that the price is sitting at around 15,770, so not far, well, actually around the same level where it closed yesterday. Now again, so far this idea is working out, the one that I talked about in the beginning of this week, where I said that if we see a corrective move lower, but this highlighted territory provides support, and this highlighted territory is somewhere around that 15,700 zone, and then yes, we could see a nice rebound and a push higher. Maybe even we could go for a new all-time high here. But again, before of course we could get comfortable with that idea, we need to see a break of the previous all-time high, obviously, and then yes, this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and potentially more buyers could join in. For the downside, I would say for the downside in the short run, a drop below this highlighted territory here, this 15,700 area, may attract a few more sellers here in the into the game, especially if the also the price falls somewhere below this 21-day EMA, shown as the yellow line, and then yes, we could go for that larger correction to the downside, aiming for this upside support line taken from the low of the 19th of March of 2020, and then of course we would take it from there. We want to see if it would hold once again or not. But again, for us to consider that idea, let's wait for a drop below the 15,700 territory, somewhere around here. The FTSE 100 now pushing nicely to the upside. Yesterday it did so. You can see the nice kind of move here higher, where we managed to almost reach the highest point of July near the 7,170 zone. Now we are aiming for well, initially actually we're aiming for this highest point of July. We're still not there. Let me just double check the cash index very quickly. So yep, actually we are just fractionally above that level, so we managed to reach it already. So let's see how this is going to play out later on today. So far everything's looking quite positive, but the next target here is if we of course continue to trade above this 7,170 territory, then my next target is the highest point of June near the 7,217 mark, and then yeah, we will take it from there, guys. Again, some of you might see this as a bit of a worry signal here, and let me just explain what I'm talking about here. So basically, from the technical side, we are forming a nice little pattern here, which could be seen as a rising wedge pattern, and of course, according to all the TA rules, these patterns tend to break to the downside. However, let's not rush into anything. I mean, before we could consider this scenario, let's say to the downside, we would still need to see a break of the lower side of the rising wedge, and then we could get a little bit comfortable with the downside, because until it's trading within this pattern, I mean, it could continue climbing higher and higher here. So that's why, yes, it seems that we are forming a rising wedge pattern, which tends to be a bearish indication. But we cannot really get comfortable with the downside until we get a clear break through the lower side of the of that pattern. Dow Jones Industrial Average, and here yesterday we've created a new all-time high on the index. As you can see here, we popped above that 35,247 territory, and we've hit the area near, let me just zoom in here a little bit, near the 35,285 zone. That's the high that we've reached. Looking at the cash index right now, we can see that we are now back below that hurdle. We were below that 35,285 zone. So yep, let's continue monitoring this one. I mean, not saying anything. This could continue rallying, guys. I mean, this could continue pushing north. However, if we want to aim for those higher levels, then we still need to see a nice good break above this 35,285 zone first, and this would confirm a forthcoming higher high, and maybe the next target could be that 35,500 level. In terms of the downside, very quickly on this one, so basically you can see that we are still trading above some of these upside lines, tentative maybe, but nevertheless an upside line. So this medium term upside support line taken from the low of the 4th of March, even if we drop somewhere below below this hurdle here, let me just quickly grab this one on the chart. Nope, not this line. Let me just, there we go. So the current lowest point of this week is somewhere near the 35,041 zone. So if we drop below that level, this would confirm a new low for the week, and potentially further declines could be possible. Yeah, and then basically we could see maybe a nice drift here towards this upside support line taken from the low of the 4th of March, and basically all this move could still be classed as a temporary correction. But nevertheless, like I said, this is how we could take advantage of that little decline here in the near term. But again, only if we see a drop somewhere below this, the current lowest point of this week. DXY dollar index, and yeah, continues to push higher, and we are approaching slowly that this level right here, the one that I talked about, the 93.19 level, which is marked by the highest point of July. So now the big question here is, can we overcome it? And so far, I mean, like I said, the game plan is working out nicely, because again, what I said to you previously, that if we pop above this 92.32 territory, then yes, my next target will be this this highest point of July, which we are almost kind of there. So for now, I would say, let's be careful, let's be cautious, and let's see what's going to happen with that barrier. If we clear that and we stay above that, because don't forget, we might see a nice little false breakout as well. So but if we clear that level and we remain above that area, then of course, yes, we'll continue aiming higher, where our next target could be the highest point of March, and that's near the 93.44 territory, and then we will take it from there, guys. Gold, of course, is still trying to kind of find those buyers, but at the moment it's a bit of a difficult one here, and so far, I would say, I mean, it continues to trade above this low of the 13th of April, near the 1724 territory, and you can see that yesterday we had a bit of a drop here below it, but the bulls quickly pushed it higher. However, didn't really push it too much to the upside. Also, right now, the commodity is kind of still, I would say, balancing below this key area of one of my key areas here. I talked about the 1750 territory, and as I said, that even if it climbs a little bit higher here but struggles to overcome it, then yep, another slide could be possible. However, as always, if it doesn't climb higher here, then certainly keep your eyes on this 1724 territory, which, as you can see today, acted as a good area of support. If it gets broken again, then this is where we could start slowly aiming for the downside. And my next target there could be around the 1706 zone. WTI oil very quickly on that one. After finding support, and this is what I talked about yesterday, guys. So after we found support near this 65.11 territory, we reversed a little bit to the upside here. But what I said, that in order to go for some lower levels, now I would need to see a drop below the 65.11 territory in order to get comfortable with that idea. But and that's the reason why I said this, because we can see that the commodity drifted back up here, climbed back above the upside support line taken from the low of the 5th of April, and well, it's still staying above it. So in order to kind of aim for lower levels, then yes, like I said, wait for this drop below this area. But at the moment, we're seeing a bit of a corrective move here to the upside, and in a way it could still continue correcting higher, especially if it remains above this upside support line, because it's currently above it. And if it stays above it, then yes, we could go maybe for a bit of an upside here towards this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 6th of July. Ripple. So Ripple is moving very nicely to the upside here, and after finding support near that 0.50 territory, it started climbing higher. However, now we are at a very interesting spot. We are testing this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 14th of April. Of course, we are now breaking it slightly as well. But again, let's see how today's day is going to end up, how it's going to shape up, because if it somehow struggles to remain above that downside line, then well, maybe we could see a bit of a corrective move lower. However, for those who are kind of looking for some downside here on this one, I would suggest maybe here to keep an eye on this little upside support line taken from the low of the 21st of July, because if that gets broken, then maybe yes, could attract more sellers, especially if the rate also falls below all of its EMAs here, and then yeah, we could start looking at some downside. But if, of course, if it remains above this downside line and then also climbs above this 0.9285 territory right here, marked by the high of the 14th of June, now that's where it could become a little bit more interesting for a few more buyers. AUDJPY, guys. So this one is stuck still stuck near this 81.32 territory. I spoke about that level recently, and well, it also, this level coincides with the 21-day EMA and the 200-day EMA. So very good, strong barrier here. If we clear that, then yes, we'll go for some higher levels, maybe even towards this 82.82 level right here. But if we continue to struggle to break above that area, well, of course, the downside scenario could be that attractive one, but would still prefer maybe to wait for a break of this little short-term upside line taken from the low of the 20th of July, but then also a drop below the low of the current lowest point of August near the 80.16 zone might just do the trick for a few more sellers, and yeah, just for that extra precaution. NZDJPY, so also sitting near a very interesting barrier here. As you can see, this downside line is currently providing good resistance. That's taken from the high of the 28th of May. So yep, in a way, everything's looking quite interesting here for the bulls. If we break this downside line and we push above the 77.72, if we don't, if this downside line somehow continues to provide resistance, then maybe we're not really done with the downside here yet. So let's be very careful and cautious here, guys, and yeah, let's see how this is going to play out. Then we could start, if we, let's put it this way, if we continue to see, let's say, a hold up near this downside line and the and the pair then falls below the current lowest point of this week near the 76.89 territory. Now that's where the gates could open up here towards the low of the the current lowest point of August near the 76.04 level, which also kind of coincides here with the 200-day EMA, or towards the lowest point of July near the 75.27 level, and then we could take it from there. But again, at the moment, guys, all eyes are on this downside line together with the 77.72 level. USDCHF. So I talked about this one recently, and basically what I said to you, and actually on Monday I talked about this one, and what I said that if these two downside lines here, so this one, the shorter term one taken from the high of the 2nd of July, and the more of a medium term one taken from the high of the 1st of April, if both of these provide resistance, then yep, another slide could be possible. But as you can see, the strength of the dollar is moving nicely here, kind of moving nicely this pair to the upside. But what I said to you previously as well, that a nice good push above the 0.9233 level right here may attract more buyers into the game. But again, for now, I would like to actually see the daily candle, the body of the daily candle, staying above this area, because what it is that we had already quite a decent up move here, so maybe a bit of a corrective move lower could be possible. Yep, because this is quite an important barrier right now, so we might see a false breakout, don't get me wrong, but if by the end of the day this pair still drifts back down here, then well, maybe, just maybe, we're not really ready for further move north. However, like I said, let's keep an eye on this one. It's quite an interesting pair here right now, and let's see how this is going to play out. But for now, of course, if we stay above this area, this barrier, then yes, I'll aim for my next target, which is the highest point of July, near the 0.9275 level. A quick update on GBPUSD. So this one is very, very careful, and look at this. I mean, it continues to slide alongside this this downside resistance line, the one that I talked about previously, and I said that sometimes these, when we break the certain trend line here, it sometimes acts as a good area of support, although the, let's say, the instrument continues to slide or to rise, depending on which way the break happened. But long story short, basically you can see that for now this downside line is acting as a good area of support. We did not really move back below this downside line, and this is what I said, that for me to consider the downside, I need to see a drop below this area. But so far, this scenario here, where we could see maybe a nice rebound and a push back up, is still kind of valid. So despite breaking this upside support line, so which we actually can get rid of now because it got violated, now I'm keeping an eye on this little structure here. Long story short, if you're looking for maybe some upside here, I would rather wait for a push through this downside line taken from the high of the 30th of July, and then kind of go for the upside. So let me just redraw this arrow very quickly. So something like this, guys, just to be a little bit more on the safe side. For the downside, I would actually maybe wait for a drop not only below that downside line, back below the downside line, but also somewhere below this area right here, the 1.3787 territory, and then kind of go for slightly lower levels. Let me just adjust this very quickly. There we go. So yep, that's kind of the little game plan here on this pair. So let's see if this is gonna work out. GBPCAD quick update. I talked about this this pair yesterday and the beginning of this week, basically. So I said to you that to keep an eye on this little coiling up situation here, where the pair was stuck in between these two lines. And what I said, that if we want to aim for the downside, then a drop below this 1.7376 level would be needed as well. Not only a break of this upside line, but also a drop below this hurdle, because this this here marks the low of the 5th of August here, and the pair drifted lower, and most importantly, it reached the lowest point of August, the current lowest point of August, which is around the 1.7312. So we're currently stalling here. Let's see if we can drift further south, and for that we need to see, of course, a break of this current lowest point of August, and this would confirm a new low for August, and yep, certainly then maybe we could target that 200-day EMA, or even maybe the low here of the 21st of July, near the 1.7151 zone. And finally, EURUSD. So, perfect achievement, I would say here, perfect move, because what I was saying here from the beginning of this week, that if we drop below that 1.1752 territory, my next target is the lowest point of March, which, as you can see, we've managed to kind of almost reach. Fell shy by a few pips here yesterday, but we might compensate that today, so let's see how this is going to play out. But I'm going to be very careful near this area, because again, maybe a bit of a reversal here, I mean a rebound here could be possible, a bit of a corrective move back up here could be possible, so let's see how that's going to play out. Again, don't forget that also this level here, the 1.1704, what could happen, we could see maybe an overshoot, I mean a breakthrough it, we could see the false breakout, but then by the end of the day, if the pair ends up staying above this 1.1704 territory, then maybe, like I said, a bit of a corrective move back up could be possible. So guys, that's it for this session. I really hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. I'll have to wrap it up here. So I really appreciate your views, your likes, guys. I really do. So thank you very much. If you want to catch me tomorrow morning, as always, at my Traders Espresso, that's 6 o'clock GMT time. Just to remind you, on Friday there won't be any espresso, so Traders Espresso, of course. But tomorrow, join me tomorrow in the morning as well, at the same time. And we'll just, as always, have a look at the markets, see what's happening from the technical side, and we'll go from there. So have a wonderful trading day, stay safe, have your stop losses in place, and everything will be fine. Bye-bye.